In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. In this show, we're going to dig into the area of influencer marketing and about which type of influencers we should be leveraging to help build brand and sell products and services, and then also how we should go about tracking down these influencers, and then how do we manage them. My guest today is Marc Hillander, and he brings clarity and integrity to a space that's too often clouded by vanity metrics and hype. As a seasoned digital marketer based in Sweden, Marc has built a reputation around one core belief: influence marketing only works when it's rooted in audience relevance, not influencer fame. In our recent conversation, I appreciated Marc's nuanced take on modern influencer marketing. He cuts through the noise to explain why micro and niche influencers often outperform their mega counterparts, especially when companies focus more on connection than on clout. And with that, Marc Hillander, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you're having me.
Yeah. I hope I got it correct in the introduction. You can correct me.
Yes, it sounds wonderful to me, to be honest.
Okay. Well, obviously, this is an interesting time in that AI is affecting a great deal about what goes on in influencer marketing, right? I've seen constant posts on X and Instagram about guys who are building these AI influencers, these nice looking Portuguese models, or and then they're talking about how much money they're making as influencers. Is that hype? Is that something that we should avoid, or is that something that is worth studying as a smaller brand?
Yeah, I would say, to be honest, that it is a hype. It will work now because it's cool, like everything with AI, if you can use it to do something else. But my gut feeling regarding this is that it will probably work rest of the year. But when it comes to marketing, and we see that people want to be connected with the influencer in some way. They want it to be authentic. Now it's a cool thing. You stand out when you do it. But I believe that it will grow away, and we will come back once more to the normal influencer and see more about how AI can help us in that case to optimize how we collaborate with them and follow up with them.
Yeah, I like that. Well, let's talk a little bit about that. Kind of what are the steps for those of us who are not engaged yet with influencer marketing? How do we need to think about it, and how do we build that kind of program?
Yeah, exactly. So like I normally say in the podcast, that influencer marketing in the past was more nice to have, or we should try it. We take a famous name somewhere and try it out. But nowadays, we see that it's a must-have if you want to succeed even more with your marketing, because we need to focus on multi-channels. And a lot of companies ask me, should we add a new budget for influence marketing? But what we say is use some of your budget and try it out. And you need to try it out for a longer time, not just once, because everything is about, when you do influence marketing, about how the creator is doing their content. But what we have seen as the latest trend is that you should focus more on the smaller influencers than the mega influencers, because the relationship with their audience is so much better than if we look at mega. Of course, you you get better reach, but reach is it's not always the goal.
Right.
You want to reach your target. And just to mention one of the biggest challenge I have had when I talk with companies is that they focus on the influencer they want to work with, not where their audience is.
Right. All right.
So what AI system and software out there can do is that you know your target group, you know which audience you want to reach. With good platforms, you can just fill it in, and then you will get the perfect match directly which kind of influencer you should work with, so you can get out with your brand to your target directly.
So I hear this fundamental, which is you want to understand who your ideal client is, and then you want to see who the audience is of the influencer and make sure those are a match, is what you're saying.
Exactly. And that is what I believe many people do it wrong when they try influence marketing and expect some kind of result, which they will never get, maybe some, but if you do it right. And what I have seen is, if we talk about AI and what AI can do, especially new companies that want to start with influence marketing, is that it is a company from Croatia called Hypify, who has actually done the whole process with AI, which means that they focus, first of all, with micro and macro influencers who has the better relationship. And then you include, your budget that you want to spend. And then you just say which target do you want to reach out to. And then they do the emailing, they do the payout, they do the communication, they choose which influencer you should choose. And afterwards, all you need to do is actually to just approve the content before it goes live. And that's pretty amazing, because in the past, when you work with influence marketing, before even you had a system, you used Excel, you took the contact with the influencer, you needed to get the files and back and forward.
Yeah.
And now you can go the whole way with the AI automation. But then there are many different systems that can help you with the first phase, which is to scout and get to the right targets. Or ideal customer, and then you also need to use AI for the content writing. As I have seen a lot of companies that is doing this right has stopped using OpenAI and using Claude when it comes to writing, because the writing is so much better.
Yep.
But all of this you already know, of course. But you need to see what part of influence marketing can I automate, and how can I scale it up and test it out without it costing too much.
Sure.
Because I believe it's the future of, because what I have seen also is that we see a lot of LinkedIn influencers now also. Me, for example, has some gigs on that also, so I can finally call myself influencer. But what we have seen is that on all around the platforms where video become more preferred, as we have seen on LinkedIn now, we see that I haven't seen a platform that is doing the data 100% when it comes to LinkedIn profiles, but it will come in the future. So what I see is that I also believe that B2B companies should start looking at this, because if they are first of doing this and find the right way of doing it, it will be a perfect match.
I love it. Now, I got a couple questions. I guess we'll follow that up. We'll say, with a B2B company, my philosophy is that the CEO should be the primary influencer, and that we should be building the brand of the company around that person first. What do you think about that?
I agree a bit, but not fully.
That's okay.
Yeah, because I believe that you should, because all companies has employees, that some of them think this is more fun, and they want to build a thought leadership by themselves, because it is extremely time consuming in the start when you do it, and you need to get used by being by the camera. But once again, if you use AI and build your own agents who help you with the content and get to learn your voice, then I believe you should instead focus on the person who want it the most.
Yeah, fair enough. I like that. I'm curious about the content. So in kind of traditional campaigns, we look to build about 60% branding and educational content, and about 40% transactional content. Buy this now. How is that in the influencer campaigns?
Yeah, I would say that if you want to succeed with the campaigns, you need to give the creativity to the influencer.
Okay.
Because they have an audience that like what they see about them. And if someone know how they should do the content, is them. If it's that it need to be like a comedian, or if they more serious, then they need to take their personality into your brand, which is of course important when you choose the influencer, that you feel like, okay, we could match on that also. But you can't give them a script and say you need to say this. You need to be able to give them creative because otherwise it won't work. You need to, because good influencers make influencer marketing look like no marketing, but is marketing.
Right. Yeah. Understood. I like that. And then talk a little bit about some of the recent campaigns that you've been involved in the successful process of influencer marketing.
Yeah, so I had a fashion brand that we were able to first of all optimize the workflow, and they worked with around 200 influencers per month and using Excel, and we're around, I believe, 10 people. But now they could more focus on doing other stuff, because we use the whole AI automation system. So instead of searching, spending time, so we I believe they spend around maybe 2 full-time employee per month just by handling the influence marketing. But now all that was done in like 2 days, because we automate the whole process. And then the result that we saw when we worked with the micro and macro influencer, they got an ROI on 298% compared to before.
That's pretty powerful. Powerful numbers.
Yeah, exactly. And what we saw, was the difference was that they decided they didn't have the time to even get more influencers and see who was more relevant for them to work with. And the system did it automatically by them itself. And we saw the value directly.
So then you're, in addition to Hyperfy, you're also automating some other internal systems for this company?
Yeah, absolutely. Hyperfy is one system, Sims is another one. There's a lot of different systems, and sometimes the companies already have a system on place, and then we just need to figure out what part can we automate with OpenAI, or if we should use some different system. For me, it's more about understand the client, how they work today, what kind of system do they already have on place, and how can we be most efficient and get most result without spending a lot of money.
Of course. Yeah. Love that. So then if I'm just starting a influencer campaign, I hear the podcast, I'm like, okay, I got to do it. Then the first thing I want to do is figure out which of my products I want to have talked about. And then I want to make sure that I have a clear ICP, my ideal client profile. Is there any other material that I need to put together before I go and start talking to the influencers?
I wouldn't say that. That is the most important part, because later on you will understand it's the same. I always say that influence marketing work exactly like all the other channels. So you know how you do it there, and do the same when it comes to when you buy meta ads or whatever. You choose your target, you choose your product. Here it's just persons that you need to decide which you should use, and there is a system extremely good to use.
And so obviously there's KPIs associated with the campaign, and there's going to be reach and click-throughs and visits to my site, and then sales. Are there other metrics besides those standard metrics?
Yeah, I would say one is, especially when it comes to if you want to start with B2B, it's the brand awareness. It's extremely important just to understand the value that could bring into the end, especially if your system or product is a little bit more expensive, because everything is about being top of mind. And if you have a good influencer, you are able to be on top of mind also.
And then about how much time, if I'm doing this campaign to start and I want to get good information, how many months do I give it to have a good data set?
Yeah, I would say that you just need 3 months, because then you have give it, and especially depending on which kind of system product you have. The summer maybe is not the best time if you are a B2B company, but if you are a B2C company with sunscreen or whatever, then it's perfect time to doing it now.
Right. And then I guess what kind of allocation from my marketing budget do you think a company should put into initial testing?
Yeah, I normally say around 10%.
Uh,
Just especially if you do the micro and macro influencers, then you have an okay budget for doing that. And if you want to enter new market, it's a perfect way of spending money also and building a brand with the influencers.
and about how many different influencers should I kind of test in this initial campaign, do you think?
Yeah, if let's say a number, if you have around $10,000 for a campaign, you normally will get around up to 10 influencers that could be relevant. So I would say that would be a great start, because then you can follow all the data live, and see if it works good. Maybe you should go up to 20,000 next time you try. But 10,000 around there is a good start, because then you get able to spread to a lot of different influencer and not spend all on one.
Right. Yeah. We want to spend and test their followers to see who's going to be a match initially, right?
Exactly, and when you have that match, you need to keep them and think them more about like an ambassador for your brand, and maybe work even closer. But to be able to come there, you need to try out different ones and see, okay, which one actually work best with my brand.
Yeah, understood. Wow. Well, that sounds exciting. I love the process that you have. It makes a lot of sense in terms of the fundamentals of marketing. Anything else I should be thinking about before I start an influencer campaign?
Yeah, you can always contact me on LinkedIn if you need any advice. I will give them for free. So just to get started, because I know it can be a little bit risky, because it's hard to understand the value before you do it. But to be honest, everything you do in marketing is a gut feeling.
Right.
You don't know from the start exactly what will come out in the end. So it's the same with influence marketing.
I love it. Yep, that's that's the philosophy I have. Ready, fire, aim.
Exactly.
All right, Mark. Well, we'll get your LinkedIn address in the show notes and make sure people have a chance to check in with you if they're interested in it. And I really appreciate your time this afternoon, and thank you so much for sharing your insights on influencer marketing.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, have a good night. Well, you heard from Marc Hillander about the process of clarifying your ideal client profile, making sure that your ICP matches with the audience that the influencer has, and then beginning a 3-month test, and that's a pretty rational way to begin any campaign. I hope that this has been an episode that brings some value to your marketing. And my hope for you is that you take some time today, review some AI tools, find a way to get some time back in your day, which then you can use to upskill and or get outside and go for a walk with your family or your friends and spend some time exploring what it is to be your best human. So Emanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.